the Khabib versus Gaethje fight, and the triangle choke submission.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Today I'm talking about an event that involved both Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje that occurred on October 24th, 2020 during UFC 254 in Abu Dhabi. The fight pitting these two athletes was the main event, and it was slated to be a freaking barn burner. In this video, I'm going to look more closely into what happened during this match, the submission that was used to secure the victory, and why this technique is so freaking effective.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Hey everybody, Dr. Chris, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine physician. If you want to learn who I am and why you should subscribe to my channel, then stick around to the end of the video. Otherwise, let's get right to the action. So today I am reacting to the aftermath of the main event fight between Khabib and Gaethje at UFC 254. To this contest, Khabib brought his grappling skills, his relentless pressure, his unorthodox boxing, and his perfect 28-0 record. Gaethje, on the other hand, brought his strong wrestling skills, his excellent striking accuracy, his takedown defense, and his unshakable will to dominate to the party. Of all the opponents that Khabib had faced, Gaethje was believed to be the one that would test him the most and finally allow us to see whether he was in fact infallible. This fight was expected to go the distance, and it was not expected to be easy for Khabib. However, after only a short time, it became clear that Khabib was not interested in what was expected to be his greatest challenge. In only the second round, Khabib submitted Gaethje with a triangle choke, and in so doing, cemented his legacy as one of the most dominant middleweight fighters ever, and as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of all time. So, what is the triangle choke? How did Khabib use it to secure victory in this matchup, and why is it an effective submission technique? The triangle choke is originally a judo technique that is a type of figure 4 chokehold. It has been used in judo competition for over 100 years and is said by some to have been introduced into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu by Rolls Gracie. It made its introduction into mixed martial arts in 1994 when Jason DeLuca used the triangle choke to beat Scott Baker at UFC 2. Yes, and we just finished UFC 254, so it's been around for a while. Since that time, it has been used to secure victory by numerous MMA practitioners in the UFC and in other fight promotions. It has also made its way into popular media, having been shown in movies such as Lethal Weapon, Oblivion, and The Fast and the Furious. Generally speaking, the technique chokes the opponent by encircling the opponent's neck and one arm with the legs in a triangular configuration. It is a counterattack move that is usually employed from the bottom position from the guard or open guard. It can also be employed from the mount, side mount, and back mount, although it is much more difficult in these positions. It is often used after an opponent executes a hand strike while in one of the previously mentioned positions, when one arm becomes briefly exposed and vulnerable. Once the neck and arm become encircled, pressure is applied using both legs and the opponent's own shoulder. If the opponent is unable to reverse or escape the figure 4 lock, they will eventually be rendered unconscious if they do not tap. In the Khabib versus Gaethje fight, Khabib used only a short period of time in the first round to measure distance with Gaethje before he started to turn up the pressure. He hassled and hounded Gaethje throughout the round with a relentless pressure, both on the feet and on the ground. Toward the end of the round, Khabib secured a takedown and almost submitted Gaethje with an armbar just before the bell. Although Gaethje is normally the one to push the pace, it was clear by the end of that first round that he was overwhelmed by Khabib's pressure and already visibly out of breath. In the second round, it was more of the same, and Khabib became increasingly impatient with pursuing Gaethje around the octagon. After Gaethje threw a leg kick, Khabib completed a takedown and immediately took Gaethje's back. As Gaethje rolled to escape this position, Khabib expertly transitioned to a high full mount position. Once there, he quickly trapped Gaethje's right arm overhead by sliding his left knee under Gaethje's right armpit. At the same time, Khabib used his right hand to bring Gaethje's left arm underneath his right leg, allowing him to bring his right leg around the left side of Gaethje's neck. All that was left was for him now to lock legs behind Gaethje's neck. However, his left knee was still flexed and his left leg was not yet into play. Khabib deftly rolled to his right while cradling Gaethje's left elbow to maintain control and create space to extend his left leg. With both legs now in position, Khabib rolled backwards, flexing his left knee over his right ankle with Gaethje's head, neck, and right shoulder trapped in between. And although Gaethje attempted to free himself using his left hand, he was not successful, and it was not long before he was rendered fully freaking unconscious. After only 1 minute and 36 seconds in the second round, Khabib submitted Gaethje by a triangle submission and improved his record to 29-0. The triangle choke is a blood choke hold where the opponent is strangulated against his own shoulder. It is a type of lateral vascular restraint that constricts blood flow from the carotid arteries to the brain. If the opponent is unable to escape this position, they must either tap or pass out. With Gaethje, although it appears that he made an attempt to tap, this was not recognized by the referee, and within 5 seconds, he had already lost consciousness. The brain receives its blood supply from 4 major branches of the body's main artery, the aorta. There are 2 major vessels, the common carotids, and 2 smaller vessels, the vertebral arteries. The vertebral arteries are located deep in the back of the neck, and their pulses cannot be felt externally. They join at the base of the brain to form the basilar artery that supplies blood to the rear portions of the brain. The common carotid arteries, on the other hand, carry blood up the front of the neck. Their pulses are readily felt on either side of the trachea or the windpipe. Near the jaw, each carotid splits into an internal carotid artery and an external carotid artery. The external carotid artery supplies blood to the face, while the internal carotid artery supplies blood to the front part of the brain. The triangle choke is a form of strangulation that compresses one or both of the carotid arteries without compressing the airway. The compression stops the flow of oxygenated blood to the brain through the carotid arteries. This causes cerebral ischemia and temporary hypoxia of the brain, or oxygen starvation. The oxygen starvation leads to unconsciousness in a short period of time. Basically, the brain is an oxygen-hungry computer, and if you shut off the flow of oxygen to the brain goes to sleep. In a recent study of time to unconsciousness from sportive chokes in fully resisting highly trained combatants, say that 5 times fast, the authors wrote that in their analysis there was no significant difference in time of loss of consciousness between different types of chokes, with the triangle choke requiring 9.5 seconds to render opponents unconscious. Although there were 4 seconds separating the shortest time, the bulldog choke, 6.2 seconds, and the longest time, the Von Flute choke, 10.5 seconds, this difference was not significant. The bottom line is that you have between 6 to 10 seconds to escape or tap before you go night-night.
You ever go night-night? You ever go night-night? Everybody go night-night.
Okay.
To escape a triangle choke, the opponent must first elevate their head to allow them to bring their arm away from their carotid artery. This removes the pressure from the carotid and restores the flow of oxygenated blood to the brain. Once the opponent is out of danger of losing consciousness, the opponent can work on reversing or escaping the figure 4 lock. Sportive chokes are neck compression techniques that are applied with the goal of ending a fight by causing loss of consciousness or voluntary submission prior to loss of consciousness. In what proved to be Khabib's final fight and the culmination of his career, Khabib finished Gaethje by knockout, or more specifically, chokeout, in only the second round of a championship fight scheduled for 5 rounds. He finished his professional career with a perfect 29-0 record and is widely believed to be one of the best pound for pound, if not the best pound for pound fighter in UFC history. As of the time that this was filmed, he had not yet been named to that position, but if the UFC grants him that request, it will be the ultimate capstone to an incredible career. Congratulations, Khabib. Well done. If you are here because you recently subscribed to my channel, then thank you for becoming a part of the Intern Army. Now nearly 60,000 supportive members strong. Ugh. Welcome to my channel, where I explain orthopedic injuries and sports medicine in a way that's easy to understand for everybody. If you are interested in sports injuries and how they happen, then yo, I got you. So subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my content. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter for medical stories and content. TikToks for information on medical education, and on my other YouTube channels for the podcast or for workouts and training tips. And be sure to let me know, because I want to hear what you think. Is Khabib Nurmagomedov the greatest pound for pound fighter to have ever fought in the UFC? Thanks for watching, and as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho.
Just a flesh wound.